Hi again everybody, welcome to my latest video. Well, this is going to be considerably different than what I normally do, but there's going to be some elements of technology thrown into it. Behind me is the front window to my home, the one nearest to the door there. And we decided, because of the current situation of the world, we really don't want to hand trick-or-treat candy, which is 2 weeks from today is Halloween. We want to be able to have a little safer way of dealing with it. So what we did is, or what we're going to do, is we're going to put this giant tube from that window, and I'm going to build a frame for it out of wood. It's going to come down, and then it will let the candy out at this end for the kids, so they can hold their little trick-or-treat basket or their bag underneath there and catch the candy. Okay? That's the main part of this work that I want to do here today. We want to do some decoration, so I'm going to paint it this orange color. I had this laying around the house, I didn't have to go buy it. And I'm going to put a strip of LEDs. You've seen me use these types of things before. And it'll allow me to put a stripe right down the center of the pole. And we got a wireless Wi-Fi remote control to it that would be able to control the LEDs. We can put patterns, we could change it of course to orange or to any other color that we want to do to give the kids a little bit of a incentive that that's where they're going to be getting their candy. If I can, I'm going to put a little arrow down at the bottom using the LED strip so that they can actually see where the candy is going to come out. I'm going to try to make it so that we can view it from either the window up there or from the front door, which has a glass screen covering the window itself. I'm going to see when I make the little wooden background for the tube, I'm going to see if I can actually put a little window on that too, but I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out at this point. We'll see. Anyway, without any further ado, let me get started with this. Okay, let me start spraying painting this thing, okay? I got this jury rigged here so it won't get in the way. I'll do one side first, just in case I run out of paint, because both sides necessarily do not have to be painted. I think there'll be enough to do both, but just in case. I won't give it 2 coats. I don't think there's enough for that. I'll call that aside and I'll turn it over. There we go, starting at the top again. We might want to put some stencils on here too. We'll see, we got a couple of weeks to really think about it yet. Maybe a little ghost, little pumpkins, whatever. See how it goes. The orange paint doesn't really cover those lettering, but that's okay, that came on the tube. I think that's good. I don't want to use all the paint because I may want to use the rest of it for the part that's going to be in the window. I'm looking for spots at this point. There we go. That may not have gotten covered. Okay, that's good for now. Let me go ahead now and start putting together the wood frame that I want to put inside that window. Okay, what I have here is a piece of wood. It's 24 inches this way and just about 18 inches this way. It would be better if it was 24 square, but I don't have a piece of scrap plywood that fits that dimension. This is good enough because we're going to close the window down on it. This is the outside, and I already marked the hole that I'm going to drill approximately. I may have to make it a little bit bigger in order to get the end of the pipe through there. So I picked the wider end of the pipe. That is actually a PVC drain pipe. It's not meant for high pressure water, so it's a little bit thinner walls, and one end is a little bit wider than the other so you can connect them together. Obviously we're not going to do that in this case. I just need a single 10-foot section for this to work. So it's already marked off. I want to make the hole a little bit bigger than I already had drilled in this wood here so I can get the saw in there. And then I'm going to use a jigsaw to go all around this right here. I made it a little bit wider because it's going to be in there at an angle, as you recall from my initial picture. So let me go ahead and get that and see if it fits. Actually, let me bring this over to it. It's still drying, and see if that fits. I won't put that on camera right now. Okay, it more than fits. It's got almost a ½ inch around, but I'm going to be duct taping it on the inside of the house. Just like the wood itself into the window be duct taped. So that's fine. What I do want to do is put a little window here. I don't have a piece of plexiglass, but I don't need anything that permanent. So what I did is I got this really thick, clear page separator. It's actually meant for a cover of like a report or something, and I had a bunch of extras of these. So I'm going to put this over here down in the lower part. Remember, this is what's going to be facing the outside. So I'll be able to look in, or my family will be able to look in as they throw candy to this, make sure that somebody has their bag underneath it. So this is an 8 by 11, so I'm going to take my ruler here and I'm going to go ahead and make a square cutout here. So let me mark it, get one end right. Let me see, can I reuse that hole? I probably can, right there at the bottom edge. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reuse that hole there. So let me cut that out. Okay, now let me spray paint this. I want to back the camera up so I don't get anything on the lens. I think that's good enough. I will call that a job. Now let's let the paint dry, and then I'll put it together for a test run. Well, you know what, let me do the next thing is to put the RGB LEDs on the tube. So I'll do that next. Okay, now it's all dry. Sitting on my living room floor, and I'm going to go through and now put the LED strip on there. Of course, we get a little visitor coming across there. That's the other cat you haven't seen on film before. Gonna sit there and play, I guess. Okay, here is the LED strip that I'm going to be putting across the tube. This was inside here. And I don't recall whether I bought this separately or not. I think there is a version of this that does come with it, but I'm not sure if that's the one that I got. I just happen to have a couple of these lying around. I did have to get one of these male-to-male couplers for it. And this is the thing that I can set up so that we can wirelessly, through the iPhone, control the colors and the patterns and everything else that are here. But what came in here, this is an empty box. I'll try to put the links down below. If it obviously came with what looks like an old movie reel from like a 16mm film, and it all wraps onto here. At both ends it's got the connector, the 4-pin connector, so you can actually daisy chain them together. Obviously you got to be careful of the current that this is going to draw. It does have a user manual, which looks like it it goes mostly into how to use this if it came with it. Pretty straightforward though. Let me show you that here. What's important here is on the back of this it has an adhesive film. They give you 2 packages of activator. That's really if you want to reuse it more than anything else. I'm going to try that and see how it works, but really I'm going to depend upon these little pin sets that it came with. So I'm going to actually screw these into the tube, and it includes a screw, a self-threading screw, and a little clear plastic piece that goes and can hold a strip down to whatever you're tying it to. So I'm going to try to use these when I hook it up to the tube. I'm just going to do one straight run, but I wanted to create, as I said, a little arrow at the end. So we'll see how that works out. I may need multiple of these to do that. Okay, let me go stretch it out now and see how it works out. Okay, let's start at this end. Actually, I'm going to probably start at the other end. I just want to show you how it would stretch out across the top like this. I'll remove the adhesive protector on here. It looks like it's split, if you notice. And it's a little bit sticky on that side. So that might be sticky enough with fresh paint, at least to get it to hold in place while I screw it in place. But I'm going to stretch this out along here, all the way to the other end. But let me go to the other end, because the other end is where I'm going to try to create the arrow. So let me start with the arrow and work back, because whatever excess we have over here at this end, that's going to wrap around the window frame that I've created. Okay, so these little screws, I was screwing them into the plastic. I already tried one. A little bit of effort to get it started, but they go right in. So this one's actually already started right there. But let me formulate a arrow. I'm thinking maybe I come around like this. And I come across like this. and then I finish it off like this. And then I'll wrap the wire underneath there and use some duct tape. So that's what I'm thinking of right now. So let me go ahead and try to do that. I'll start by screwing this bottom piece in here. Try not to cover the LEDs. If you look very carefully at it, the LED pad is white. Then they have some resistors in here, and then they have a transition point. The transition point is the best place to lock it down. This little part with the four little copper things on it. That's where you would cut it if you wanted to expand this somewhere else. So that's where I'm going to try to screw it into the board. Let me see, do I have enough? Back like this. Back like this, and then back like that. I'll give it a little bit more. I'll go to the next point like that. Okay, so let me put this first one here. As usual, having a magnetic screwdriver is like having a third hand. Okay, that's pretty close, I think. And I'll wrap this around. I have some orange duct tape that I'll wrap it underneath. And we'll see how it looks later when I turn it on. I didn't pull off the backing. I could still do that. There's nothing that stops me from doing that. But for now, let me just go down the line. And let's see, how many more of these things do I have? I got 6 more, so I'm going to divide it out pretty evenly here. I'm allowing a little bit of extra room because I am going to pull the backing off of that strip and let it stick to it a little bit better. I'll also be taking the whole thing off at some point because I want to wrap some black masking tape all the way around the tube. Down to the last one here. And the rest of it will go in the window. Okay, all done, starting from the arrow. I also wrapped a swirl of black duct tape around it, just to give it that Halloween look. We're also going to probably decorate it some more with little black characters, ghosts or whatever. Now the only other thing that I need, which I happen to have a couple of them just laying around, is a power supply. This is one I believe I pulled off of one of my wireless routers. And it's a 12 volt, 1.5 amp. Which should be enough. Power adapter, and you connect it up. It connects the connector, connects exactly up with the little wireless controller. So let me go plug this in and see what it looks like. There we go. Just have to make sure that at the other end I put the 12 volt pin in the right spot. It's a standard 12 volt RGB. Going down to the arrow. I was playing with this while it was still wrapped in its spool, so I had set it to what was close to orange. But I can actually control this from my phone. It uses a Magic Phone app, but before you can activate the app, you've got to go into your Wi-Fi settings and connect up to this LED device. Connecting. Let me open up the Magic Phone app. And it sees one that's there. There is a connection here, so let me click on that. And there's the color wheel. I can set it to whatever color I want. It's white, blue, purple. And what I did last time is I went into the thing here that allows you to go into your camera and pick whatever color you want. And then I came right up to the actual tube here. Pick the color on the side of the tube, which should be orange. Click on that and it sets the color to that. And then of course down at the arrow end is what's most important. Okay, get your candy at this end, right where the arrow is at. Okay, now to finish the part that's going to go in the window. The most important thing here right now is to get this little piece of thick plastic. So I'm going to lie it right over here, and I'm going to use some of the orange duct tape that I bought to lock it in place. Good. Now we got a nice little window here. It's not going to take any severe stress, but it's only temporary anyway. This is how it's going to look from the outside. We'll be able to peek through this little window here, and then the tube will be over here, and we throw stuff on there. So now let me go ahead and set this up outside. Do it a dry run. Okay, here it is attached to my house. Comes down at this end here, and then it goes all the way up to the window. And in the window, we have a nice little viewport that I've created so we can see when somebody's there with their bag in the right spot. We're going to do some more decorating to it, I think, before it actually comes, but this is where it's at for right now. Let me light it up and see what it looks like. Okay, there it is, lit up. It's hard to tell in daylight, so I'll have to take another look again tonight when it gets dark out here and see what it looks like. All the way up, so hopefully it shows the path for where the candy is going for anybody who wants to look at it. And here's how it looks like from inside the house. If we look down the tube, we see a bush, but hopefully we see a trick-or-treat bag there on Halloween. And then from the little side window I created, we can see a bigger view of it. So I think it'll work out pretty good. We'll have to wait and see now, huh? Okay, here's what it looks like at night. Well, night enough for purposes of this. This camera does illuminate pretty good at night. It's much darker than it looks on the film. Let me see if I can change the colors of this a little bit. I'll do a 7-color crossfade. Let me see if I can go ahead and catch some candy that comes out of it now. Get a little bit closer to it. I got somebody shooting it up when I signal them. That did it. It fell on the ground. You got more? That's it. That one came out real good. Whoops, that one went on the ground. Okay, good. Thank you.